All right, let's get to the third one. This is the biggest one. This is what affects us the most. It always affects in some way, shape, or form. It is what controls all things. This is what got me into wanting to be a business coach. And one of the big things I focus on is neuroscience, neurology, this component. It's the mind. It's the mental, emotional component. It is 80% of the causes of subluxations. The mind controls all things. And so the state of our mind determines the state of our body. One negative thought creates a lower immune system. And so when we look at this conditioning process and so much more, this is why 80% of our health or subluxation is being affected by mental, emotional components. And so when you think about that, what emotions do you have? What thoughts do you have? What condition you have it as a kid subconsciously? All this stuff plays a role in what your health is and what it is. So you take the physical, the chemical, and we add on the mental, emotional. And would you agree in today's society, we're way more mentally, emotionally stressed out, especially after a pandemic, during the pandemic, after the pandemic. And when we look at things like, we're looking at other aspects of mental, emotional components, look at mental health. It has been tanking down at an accelerated rate. Mental, emotional components of stress is so much higher than it ever has been. And this affects our neurology. It affects our nervous system. It affects our overall health. And so the beautiful thing about chiropractic is when we're removing these subluxations, we enhance emotional and mental well-being because we're affecting different areas of the brain. And I'll have a video on this talking about how we research. I'll even sharing some cool research of what we do to the brain from just one adjustment. And what does that mean for you in your life and overall quality of life? And so when we start to look at things like when we're looking at the brain itself, the mental emotional component, every adjustment gets us to higher consciousness levels. And what we're doing is from a chiropractic standpoint is getting you out of this like reptilian type of a brain reactiveness, and getting you more into this consciousness, more the one part of our brain that it makes us all different than all other species. And I think the dolphins are the only other species in the world that has this like us. And that's probably why we're good friends. But it's this component that we can help in that process. But when we keep taxing on mental, emotional components, how we think, what emotions we get to, how much we react in life, how much we let people disturb our peace, or how much you let news disturb our peace, or how much you let environments and events disturb our peace, that all plays a role. And so just to give you a little neuroscience, this creates neuropeptides in the brain, which releases to create a physiological response. And when that happens, that puts stress on that nervous system. And that's what's going to build. So we got the physical, the chemical, that mental, emotional. When we cross over that line, that's when the subluxation is created. And when we do this multiple times, creating more and more subluxations, what ends up happening is there's going to come a point of a line where the symptoms come. And that's what we did when you probably first started, is we're working our way back down to get past that line. Everyone's line's different. But once we get past it, symptoms will start to resolve and go away. But that's only 10% of the work that's been done. We still have 90% to do. And that's why our evaluation, how we look at you, the things we're checking is all neurological, because if we just check symptoms, yeah, you're feeling better, but guess what? I only solved 10% of the problem. We only got 10% of the job done. How good do you feel about that, knowing that your health, your entirety of your health, is only 10%, neurologically speaking, has been corrected? You have a whole 90% left to go. And so that's the beauty of it all. So there are tips and tricks that you can do. And if you're interested in some of those things that can help with mental, emotional outside of the chiropractic, just let me know. There's a lot of tools I love to share and so forth to help you in that process and so much more. So I will see you on the next video.